Okay, so I have actually been struggling trading a smaller account because um, the rules are different based off of um, how much money you have in your account, right? And so I've actually been trying to trade a small account with the same rules that I would use for a larger account, and that just cannot happen. I can take a lot more risk with a larger account. I think that's like the simplest way to explain why the rules aren't working. There's lots of nuance, but ultimately, if you can take more risk, then you can take more trades, then you can, do a lot of different things that you just don't have the liberty to do with a small account because you'll blow it up. So I spent a few weeks figuring out a better rule system for um, trading something smaller, and um, I'm going to give it out now. I'm still sort of developing it. So we're going to give it a go. This is why I stopped trading the small account because I had to reassess, like why can I not do this to the same caliber that I used to be able to? And ultimately it's just I don't trade by the same rule structure that I once did. Um so the first thing is that pardon me, I'm only going to break it down to 3 to 4 tickets a day. Um I shouldn't be looking at something like this if I only have, $300 to $500 to spend, because looking at things in the 8 grid makes me want to trade the things in the 8 grid, which is fine if I have enough capital, if I have enough money to risk, like all of those things. But since I don't, I'm going to break it down into, obviously, I'll keep my indices here. So I'll have my spies and Qs. Um, but then I'll just have 4 tickers that I'm watching. And ideally, I'm only trading 3 to 4 tickers. Okay. So that's the first rule. Um, and I do think that the rules need to be shifted based off of where we are in the month and in the week. I'm going to right now just focus on where we are in the week. And again, like these rules will sort of grow and change with time. But Monday through Thursday, it's going to be important to keep this specific set of rules. So I'm only going to take domino trades, which means I have to plan a bit ahead, right? Like, cool, if I see this month, this week, and this day, let me do it like this actually. And it's perfect to start this now at the start of a new month, right? That's why I waited so long to do this, because now I have all of my things sort of happening at once, which is ideal. Um, we still have quite a bit of time on the quarter. Right, yeah, we still have a whole month left on the quarter. So we're going to be focusing on a few things based off of the month, the week, and the day chart. So, number one rule, right? I'm only taking 3 to 4 trades. And then we're going to get into Monday through Thursday. The rules are I'm only going to take domino trades. So that's like the 4 hour leads into the day, which leads into the month, etc. You can do, the hour to the 4 hour to the day. You can do that. You can kind of skip around, but ideally, I'm only going to be taking domino trades. So what do I see here? I see that we made a higher high on the month. So my broadening formation would actually look more like this. So we went to all-time highs, eventually rejected those. So we have this broadening formation possibility on Palantir, right? Okay, I have an inside week. Cool. And I have a failed 2 up on the day. So my domino would be 2-2 reversal. This would be my entry. And I can also check with the 4 hour, but 2-2 reversal entry to trigger the inside week, right? Which would ultimately be an add to trigger the 2-2 month reversal, right? Top of the broadening formation, good time to get in and add, right? So I have a domino. And again, let me check the 4 hour. 4 hours even better. So you could take the 4 hour entry because it's an inside bar too, right? 4 hour entry to trigger the daily entry, to trigger the weekly, to trigger the month. So Palantir looks fantastic to fit into these rules. Great. Second rule is I need to be only trading two things. My two options are a clear reversal on a higher time frame or a domino trade. This one has both, which is even more ideal, right? Because this is a clear reversal on the month, right? Which is a higher time frame, and I have the domino which I just laid out. Okay, you could also consider this to be a reversal from this week up here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'm just reading. Okay, yeah. So Monday through Thursday, I'm looking to hold my trades all week, right? So I want to be getting into things that have a good weekly setup that I can hold all week. So if this is the weekly entry, this is my first target. First target flips the month, and then my target's just boom, boom, and that could keep going. So that's what I'm looking for, is for things that actually have longevity. Less so simply day trades. So that's going to be a rule. And you know what? I should actually adjust that. I'm looking to hold runners all week. If I enter here and we hit this target, you got to take something at target, which actually brings me to my next rule. Like, you need to be taking the majority of your profit at target for this to work. And another rule is if you can't buy two or more contracts, then you cannot afford the trade. I'm going to really stick to that because it's important to take profit at targets, but it's also important to have runners, right? Because this target is also the monthly trigger. So if the month triggers, then my monthly target is down here, right? Who knows? You could make that happen in a week. Let's see the month, right? This could happen next week. So what is that? Maybe not. It's probably about $25. Not impossible for Palantir, to be fair, but that's going to be another rule. So if you can't afford two or more, then you can't afford the trade, because every trade that I take, I need to be having runners to continue to hold that trade. Because remember, part of the rule is I'm holding all week. And I'll type this out for you guys, just so you can have it. But right now, I just want to make the video and get this out there. How I'm going to adjust trading a small account. Because ultimately, a small account, you have to be focused, you have to be correct more often than not, which is obviously everyone's goal. And you also have to know when you're not correct to just get out of the trade. You're limited on how many trades you can take, etc., etc. So it's just going to be really important to have some rules, stick to those rules, and then you'll start to see substantial growth to where your rules can shift a bit. Let's see. Oh, I do want to mention, I mentioned that if you can't buy two or more contracts, then you can't afford the trade. The only exception to that is Tesla, for my rule book. Tesla can pay you substantially. You can even see these days, right? These days are crazy. And Tesla does, more times than not, show you the trade. It's quite obvious when to get in. And this will help grow the account. So the only exception is if I can only afford one Tesla contract, then that's what I'll be trading. But Tesla has to have the setup, etc., right? So that's the only exception to that rule. And the next rule is if I only have one contract remaining, then no swinging, right? So if this happens, right, if we enter here, let me just shift this for us to make it a little bit easier. So if I enter here on the week and I'm looking for this to be my ultimate target, if I take profit here on one contract, totally fine. Then I'm swinging this runner. If I take profit here before the day is over, pardon me, then I can't hold over. I think I'm going to change that rule. Now I'm talking about it live and in person. Yeah, if I only have one contract, then I don't want to swing overnight. So that would really only apply to Tesla, because I would have had to. All right, well, hope that wasn't confusing. I'm also learning this through real time. Yeah. Because swinging does build small ports. So the rule should actually say only swing runners. All right, there's that change. The next rule is going to be that I can only take one trade at open. So open for me is the first 15 minutes. I can only take one trade. Okay. So the reason, let me actually go back to something like this. I really like to take trades at open. Like, really like it. It is higher risk, but you get things like this, right? Like these wickless days. And I've been talking about wickless days on videos in the chats for months now. I like to see these wickless days, and I'll just hop into 3 or 4 different tickers. If they all go wickless, I'm in there. But it is a difficult trade to take. It's a difficult trade to hold. Volatility is high. If it does flip directions on you, you're going to take a hit. So I'm going to limit that to only taking one trade in the first 15 minutes. And really, I think I should only, I'm going to add to that as well. It should be, I almost want to say I should take it off of a $5, but sometimes even that is too late. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So only take one trade in the first 15 minutes. And this is still from Monday through Thursday, all right? So yeah, only taking one trade at open, and that includes SPY. It's painful to say out loud. That includes SPY. And that one trade can only be a maximum of 25% of my portfolio. Okay, so, and you know what? That may be even too much. Let me think. I think 20%, an absolute maximum, is 20% of the portfolio. I almost want to say 15, to be honest, but I'm going to put 20. Yeah, that'll be the max that you can risk. That sounds like too much, probably. The portfolio is not big enough for that. Let's do 15. Yeah, the maximum you can risk is 15% of the portfolio. That feels fair, and that makes sense. And then stop losses. Stop losses are at 25% of the trade. Like, absolute maximum. You don't want to be losing more than 25%. If you get a decent entry, you shouldn't be losing more than 25%, to be quite frank. So there is that rule as well. And then, okay, yeah, only trade your list. So I've been over what my list is time and time again. Even half of this shit I don't trade. I just was looking at, probably this was a kappa, so it's on my list. Like, some things can come off, but only trade the specific list. I'm not looking to jump around and look for different things. The only exception to that is if something is a gapper that you just can't walk away from, right? D-Dog is a perfect example if I can find it. This, right? It had an earnings, I believe this was earnings, no? I'm not sure why this gapped up, but I traded this gapper, right? Also, wickless, couldn't resist. And then I also traded this gapper. The next day it gaps up, right? So if something is an obvious trade, it's a gap, fine. You can take it. You can trade outside of your world. These are all inside my world right now, to be fair. But like a gap like this gap and go, traded up and down on Friday. So obvious gappers, okay to take. The only rule to gappers is you must take your profit at the target. There is no, I'm going to leave a runner, I'm going to see. No. If it's not in your, already in your universe, in your world, on your list, my list is like a maximum 20 tickers. If it's outside of those 20, I'm taking my profit at the target and I'm moving on because it's not one of my tickers. All right. Also, no trading from, hold on, PLTR. No trading. I can't take a new trade in between 11 and noon 30. Because lots of times this is what's happening anyway. See this? You have this perfect morning, right? This 9:30 candle, and then you just, it's like not worth it, right? So here, perfect 9:30 candle. You trade this first hour. It's really great, and then you have this inside, inside, inside. So it's like this lunch-ish hour. It's not really worth the time stress that you have. So you trade the first hour, and then you just let the next few hours happen, and they give you a direction. This is to help not get stuck in chop, right? And I'm saying no new trades, right? If I'm already in this Tesla, then fine, you're just riding up. If I'm already in this Tesla, well, hopefully you would exit if you open here and come all the way back down here, but we'll see. But you just have all of this chop happening. It's just not necessary for you to sit through it. So hopefully we can avoid more chop with those time restraints. So that's the Monday through Thursday rule. And again, I'll type this out so you can see it. But I definitely just want to get a video out because I'm got a lot going on this week, so I probably won't get it out to you till like Wednesday or something. But now rules for Friday. You get the direction in the AM. Friday is a completely different day. Like it's the way that Friday trades. I'm still trading 0 days on Friday, so it's just a completely different rule set. So you get the direction in the AM, and then you hold runners all day. So that's pretty much the rule. I don't even really need the weekly chart, but okay. That's pretty much the rule on Friday. Examples of why. Actually, let's do this. 12 hour, 1 hour, 15er. Honestly, probably even a 5er because I'm jumping into shit like Write It Open on Fridays. And I will explain why. The other thing I want to mention on Friday, hold runners all day. Oh, I can only take a maximum of 4 trades in the first 15 minutes. And I have to take 3/4 of my profit at target. So like if I buy 4 contracts, I have to sell 3 of them at the target, and I can only leave 1 runner. If I buy 8, then I have to sell, what is that? 3/4 of 8 is, yikes, 6. So I have to sell 6 and I can only hold 2. That was very basic math. And then let the runners run all day. The only thing that I haven't mentioned is rules will change for FOMC, but let's not focus on that now. The reason why Friday rules are like the way they are, on Friday, here, I took the 4-hour entry, 4-hour trigger, right? Because I'd already flipped the day red, right? Which happens in the first 5 minutes, okay? These 330 put contracts, so $17 out of the money, right, were 28 cents in the morning. By the time we got down here, which was the monthly trigger, right, these were over $400, I want to say. I could pull it up, but like this was a substantial, it was over 1,000% trade, right? So this works on 0 days because, I'm only risking $28. So I want to be able to jump into multiple tickers that have only $20 to $40 risk and have a substantial gain, right? And this only works because it's Friday, theta, 0 day, like all of that, right? So that's why the rules on Friday are changing. NVIDIA, same setup, right? Jump in at open. By the time you get down here, you've made 350%, right? And that happens across the board, right? SPY, you jump in your 0 day SPY here. By the time you get down here, you're likely in the money. So things like that are important for building a portfolio, getting in at open on a Friday because you're paying significantly less, and then you just have to hold on to those. Going back to Tesla, I said I bought the 330s. Here, I'm still not in the money. But as the day goes on, right? Look at this. The next thing you know, you're like so close to in the money. And actually, in hindsight, let me go back. Let me actually pull up the trade. That's what I thought. I got into 335s and then I switched to 330s. So ultimately, I was in the money. My original contracts were in the money around here, right? So I misquoted originally. The 335s were the $28 that went up 1,000%. But all of that to say, you can spend significantly less and take the ride in whatever direction. So that's why Friday rules are going to be different. Yeah, this video's gotten quite long, so I'm going to stop here.